Hey, what's up? It's DeDe in the morning along with Jay Cruz. We are here at the BET Awards 2025. And let me tell you, somebody just sat down, and I love the name, and he's got it for real. His name is Kenny Got Soul, everybody. Yep. Hey, Kenny.
What up? What up?
Oh, do I have to say Kenny Got Soul, your whole name?
Kenny Got Soul, Kenyon, Dixon, whichever one. They know.
One. Okay. Let's talk first of all. Tell me why the name Kenny Got Soul. Well, you got a lot of soul.
I got soul. You know what's funny? I got that from Dreamgirls. Which
Really?
Is one of my favorite adaptations. It's from when Jimmy Early was on Jimmy Got Soul.
Yep.
That's where I got Kenny Got Soul.
You got
from.
Kenny Got Soul. All right. Kenny, where you grow up? Where'd you grow up?
I'm from Watts. I'm from Jordan Downs.
No.
Yeah. Born
you
and
from
raised.
right here?
Born and raised.
Wow. Oh, hardcore.
Yeah. A little more east than where we are.
Let me check on you. You got any bullet wounds or anything?
I'm good.
No, what?
Yeah, it's a good point. Is it harder to make it in LA when you're from here or if you're an outsider coming here?
Yeah, I think so. And I think for two different reasons. From the perspective of a lot of people come here, people who come here and they aren't from here, they have a different type of hustle. I think because we're here and we're used to it, it's home.
You take it for granted?
Yeah, so I think we get out hustled by a lot of different people.
Probably.
And I think that makes it tough. I think the other thing is it's such a melting pot for the best people from where they're from all come into one place.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of like, if you're not careful, it's like you can lose a lot of just opportunity if you're not quick and able to kind of shift navigation like that. Yeah,
that's interesting. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm just thinking to myself, growing up here, because I have family that lives here. All my family lives in Inglewood.
Okay.
They're there in Watts too. That's why I was like, let me check some bullets. You got it. No, but for real, like growing up here, for you, did you see a lot of celebs when you were growing up at all? Was it like regular?
It was, and I grew up in entertainment, so I think that was like multiplied.
Oh,
for me.
Was your family somebody in the family?
So I do come from a family of musicians, but I was also like doing like musical theater, dance, everything when I was young, since I was 9 years old.
Right.
So I was always like put in spaces outside of my environment where we were performing for all of these people, and I was meeting these people at young ages.
That's really pretty awesome, though. Can you imagine this? So you're not starstruck at all when you come to some of this stuff.
And you see it so often. Every time I see the little tourist buses, I always like laugh to myself because I'm always thinking like, if y'all get off this bus and just go in the mall somewhere, you're gonna run into
a celeb, right? Right. I mean, it's like it is what it is.
Are the gloves a fashion statement or
nothing wrong with my hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wants to see if you were a
I didn't know
germaphobe.
if you're a germaphobe.
Oh no, I am a germaphobe, but so maybe they're serving two purposes.
So Kenny Got Soul. Let's talk though. You grew up in the church?
Born and raised.
All these black folks in that church, and that's where that singing comes from.
Yeah, man. Both of my parents were ministers, so I grew up
both
Monday through Sunday, church God in Christ.
Hold on a second. Let's stop.
Yeah.
You a bad kid?
I think I was objectively a great kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Objectively?
Yeah,
what you mean by that?
Like when you look at the scope of what a bad child is, I'm probably more to the left.
You was on the bottom part of that.
You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. I was just curious about that because, all right, so now you sing Kenny Got Soul. You write music?
Yeah.
You write? You sing? You play any instruments?
I do. So I play keys. I play a little bass. I started off on drums in church.
See?
I feel like that's the church kid story.
Yeah.
You always start on drums.
I knew for anybody who wants to call himself Kenny Got Soul had to have enough soul and do all of it.
You gotta have something.
Got to do all of that.
You can't just pick that name.
Yeah, you can't unless you got it in your spirit and in your heart and in your blood and I see you have it. So when you're writing and stuff like that, is there anything that you need? I always wonder about writers, or do you see, like I've heard somebody say that as a writer of music, sometimes you see it in your head first and you got to, do you do that?
I think at some point it's a combination of all of that, and it's different if I'm writing for myself versus when I'm writing with other people because you have to be like highly adaptable because everybody has different styles. But my main thing, I believe that when you're listening to music, if I'm listening to production or some instrumentals, I think everything already has a story. So my job is to figure out what I'm feeling and put that into words, because I have this theory that when people are listening to your music, they're likely feeling the same thing that you felt. So if you could tell the story of what that track is making you feel, that's how you create the connection with the record. So that's what I always think about.
It's easy.
No, it ain't. It's easy. I'm better than I got to be honest. I always tell people this, as I have gotten older and I listen to music differently now.
Yeah.
And when you really pay attention to even some of our greats that we grew up loving, were so young in their 20s, writing some of the most amazing things. That's a gift. That's a real gift.
100%.
I mean, do you believe yours is a gift or?
Absolutely, because there are some records. Sometimes I sit down, and I don't even have an idea of what I'm
Uh-huh.
about to do, and I come out with one of my greatest records.
Wow.
And I know that that's beyond me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's absolutely a gift.
Have you had some music that you've done and people said, "Let me have that song," and did you give it
yeah,
away?
all the time.
Who did you give some of your stuff to?
I'll tell you what. I had a couple records on that. I think one of them Tyrese ended up getting for something he did more recently.
Okay.
Actually,
Really?
Yeah. But that,
And it was yours, and you were like, "Okay, I'll give it away."
yeah,
and they
it was-
pay you for it, though, right? Don't you get a lot of money to write these songs and give them away?
Yeah. Not.
You ain't getting
I wouldn't
no-
say a lot. You know, unfortunately, writers sit at the bottom of the totem pole when it
No.
comes to fair treatment and payment in the industry. And so something a lot of people don't know is when it comes to producers are able to get a fee before records are released. Although it has to be recouped. A writer, you can spend a year and a half working on an album. The money you see is based on the success of the record. So if the record doesn't do anything, that's a year and a half of your time that you didn't get anything
Even
from.
if the album does well, the record itself doesn't.
And you know there's that's broken down based
You
on
get
your
like a penny.
contribution. Yeah, but they can break it down to the song. And so unless you have like a huge radio single
On that album.
and especially
Right.
considering now we're in the streaming era
Right.
and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we
yeah.
make a percentage of a penny
Yeah.
per stream, writers aren't really making anything unless
Okay.
you have to have a really huge record.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna hit a ding, 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 ding. And you want to know what that is?
Tell 'em.
People always say that about radio, and people want to try to discredit what we do for a living.
Yeah.
Shouts out because we this is what we do for a
Yeah.
living. But Jermaine Dupri had to explain it too, and he was like, and somebody else said, you guys make more money when your song is on the radio
Yep.
than it does on streaming.
100%.
Period.
Wow.
100%.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane.
And that's why I always say this: if your favorite artist is who you want, you better be listening to us and
You have
supporting
to.
them so you can get paid.
Yeah, radio plays a huge part, and still in breaking
Yep.
artists.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like dealing when you look at the analytics of how many new songs are released a day, it's so easy if you don't have this like huge marketing budget. It's so easy to get lost in the pile of
The
records that are
sauce.
being released. Yeah, literally. So
Yeah.
if radio is where you allow that, like where your songs get a chance to really stand out.
Yep, and I love that for you. All right, so let's talk about you. Music. Any
Yeah.
new music?
Oh yes, tons of it. I just released 3 records. One, a collaboration with my homie Vito, man, who's incredible. Released a record called Invited, and You're Invited. And then me and Terrace Martin, we're releasing a collaborative album June 20th.
Come on now.
So it's dropping in a couple weeks.
A whole
Okay.
album?
A whole
collabo?
album.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called Come As You Are.
Uh-huh.
And it's just a celebration of Black creativity and freedom. We really, we both come from the church, but also we've had success. And, Terrace produces a lot for Kendrick. I wrote a lot for Justin Timberlake
Nice.
and Tyrese and
Right,
all these
right,
people.
right.
And so we wanted to create a space to where as Black creators, we didn't have to limit ourselves, because we think that when it comes to being Black in the music space, they often try and push you into one world because it's more digestible.
And when you
So,
say they, I gotta say, it's not just the industry; it's also fans.
100%.
It's
Yeah.
society and as a whole too, right?
I think people
Yes.
are have an infatuation with being able to figure you out.
a label, yeah.
So I think with this album, our intention was just to unapologetically be ourselves.
Like it.
Yeah, and just
I like that.
create music and and be great, especially in honoring Black Music Month the right way
Yeah,
as well.
June is Black Music Month.
So that was important.
Love that.
So yeah, Come As You Are drops June 20th. We just dropped the first 2 singles a week ago. It was a 2-pack record called 211 and another record called See You Later that kind of gives a look into what the rest of the album is
what
going to
I
be
be
love
like.
that.
Okay.
All right, so listen, you said the album drops June 20th. You said
June
right?
20th. Yep.
June 20th. How can people follow you if they want to find out more about Kenny Got Soul? How do they find you?
That's it right there. Kenny Got Soul.
I know that's
Yep.
right. Kenny Got Soul, y'all.
Kenny Got Soul on all your favorite platforms. You want to listen to the music, Kenyon Dixon, but Twitter, Instagram, and, anywhere you want to find me, Kenny
right.
Got Soul.
Cool. Well, thank you so
love
much
it.
for stopping
Thank
by,
y'all.
y'all.
Good to
Kenny
see
Got
y'all
Soul. Make
again.
sure you follow him right there
Hey.
online. Appreciate it. Here we go, everybody. It's DeDe in the morning along with J. Cruz, the BET Awards 2025.
Hey.